Hello and welcome to our latest Gemini Rogues video. This is another one made for a viewer or subscriber. And this is the Churchill Gun Carrier, the beast that it is. Go on, Killers 05, tell us something about this Churchill Gun Carrier.
Well, the Churchill Gun Carrier, it come from the necessity to get a bigger gun on the battlefield, and they had this naval gun. I think you can find them on the HMS Royal Oak and one.
Sweet.
It's a QF 3-inch gun, which is technically an anti-aircraft gun.
Looks pretty.
Too big. Well, that's not the technical gun you're looking at now. That's what they designed the Churchill Gun Carrier for. They originally put an order in for 100, knocked it down to 24, and then made 50, as usual. And it never saw any kind of combat. So there is actually two existing still at Bovington in England at the Tank Museum. Not actually in the museum, but on the grounds.
Okay.
A little bit worse for wear, but they did actually make this thing. It did exist, but it became obsolete as soon as they put the 17-pounder gun into the Challenger tank and then moved it on to the Sherman and made the Firefly. So they had a bigger gun on the battlefield, which were a lot more mobile than the Churchill tank was. So it became literally obsolete overnight. It was designed between 1941 and 42. But as you can see here, we're going to look at now, the tank on the game has the 32-pounder AT gun.
Wow.
And we'll come to that in a minute why that's so good, but we'll have a look at the other statistics before we do that. Only 350 brake horsepower from the Bedford engine means manoeuvrability is not great, but the gun is something pretty special. 7 rounds a minute, don't sound too spectacular, but we're doing 250 damage, 214 pen, the highest at tier 6 from tank destroyers, 246 from reprieve rounds, HE's a little bit down. 2.10 aim time, 0.3 for accuracy, pretty good. Traverse is not too bad, but it's not impressive. 24, 26. I don't know why they have a turret traverse on a but it has that. But the view range is not great. 340 meters.
It's not good.
It's not great
for a tank destroyer. It's not very good, is it?
It's not the best. The shells you can see there, APCR as your secondary ammunition, quite expensive, 4,800. But with a pen you get on your standard shells, don't really tend to need them.
Okay. The thing is, you've gone all out on this one. You've gone camo and binos, and was there camo on there? You
kind of find yourself sat at the back. You know why you find yourself sat at the back? Because normally when action's already kicking off, you're normally still traipsing and try and catch up because of that engine. 8.5 power to weight ratio, top speed of 25 kilometers an hour that you never see. 12 kilometers an hour backwards, and 20% chance of fire, which is quite high. So we're not mobile, but this is what it's all about. It's about getting this gun about, because that gun is pretty special. It says on there 15 degrees of gun depression. No, it's really weird because it's kind of useless in the tank it's in. Only 550 meter signal range again, which is pretty poor for a tank that sits at back sniping. And you can see the shell velocity is not overly impressive on your standard shell, but it's quite good on the APCR secondary ammunition. Crew stood up again, and you tend to lose them bad boys quite regularly as well. I don't know why, it's just one of the things. I mean, the armour, it sounds impressive, it looks
doesn't look impressive.
But you'd be surprised what that does block. It's deceptive.
Take your word on that.
And you can see the thicknesses we're going up to here.
What's the red bit?
We'll see. I'll get to it. I don't think it's out to be right home about.
Is it covering your ammo, right? Go on, sorry, I was putting you.
It's not great. But as a tier 6 tank destroyer, we're most going to liken it to, and we'll talk about the way the tech trees work in a minute, the AT-8, which is also a tier 6 tank destroyer on the British line.
Of course, yeah.
That's what you're talking like, front-mounted guns.
We saw it, where is it? Sorry.
There, look. I don't know what it is.
That's the magic rivet, stuff bounced off.
Yeah, you say you're remarkable able to tell something it's that as well. 230mm thick magic rivet. But anyway, you can see mobility already. We're trying to catch up with his team. It's not great. The power to weight ratio, I mean, 25 kilometers an hour is not bad when you're on the flat, as you can see here, but when you get to an hill, this thing dies. Again, you're going to see that 15 degrees gun depression is a bit weird. It can, because then it's like that. Look how high you're pointing your tank, and because it's mounted, your turret can't oscillate or anything like that. It doesn't feel like 15. It's so strange. It's really strange. But this is that gun. This is what this tank's all about. People say Churchill Gun Carrier is one of the worst tanks in the game. If you can get a position like this gun, I mean, the fire rate doesn't look that impressive. The DPM of this thing is not that impressive. It is the lowest you're going to get out of the tier 6 tank destroyers.
What's good about it then?
The pen. The highest pen you're going to get, 214 from a standard shell, which is pretty impressive. And I'm going to tell you why it's impressive, because this is a gun you get on the second to last upgrade on the AT-15 at tier 8.
Wow.
Tier 7, I think is the AT-7, doesn't see this gun, doesn't see the 32 pounder gun. So again, If you work your way up the AT line, you're going to have to unlock that gun when you get to the AT-15. If you play that gun at tier 6, which is not much of a chore, I mean, playing the tank's not exactly fun, but if you can get in a position like this and you can just keep pivoting, you'll be surprised how good that frontal armour is. You can use a tier 8 gun at tier 6, which is not to be sniffed at.
That's very good then. Is this top upgrade then for this?
This top upgrade for the Churchill Gun Carrier. I mean, the top gun on the 88 only does 150 damage, but it has got 171 pen. We've got 214 pen doing 250 damage. Fire rate's not as impressive, and we're a little bit more mobile than 18. We've got better traverse on us and stuff like that, and we've got more gun depression. The gun's just it's a menace. It's a menace. You're going to see that we're going to see that the armour starts to back us up. It's 152 mil. That's the armour we've got. I mean, we've got over 200 on the 88, so we're not blessed as much as an 88's got. But look, we're blockers.
He used your gun, man.
He took his gun out. I mean, the major drawback, it's just got a little bit better engine. It's just got a little bit better engine. It's the power to weight ratio is so poor. It's unbelievable.
I like how he's tracked you at the right angle. You can't pen you.
It's the same with the view range. The view range is a bit of a drawback as well, being only 340 metres. I mean, the 88 again is less, only 330 metres. But compared to the others you've got at this tier,
what about Hellcat? That's tier 6.
Yeah, Hellcat's got a far better view range, far better tank in general, in my degree. You can, if you get into a position where you're in stuck, like say they kept charging at me now, Hellcat, you can get on your bike, you can get out there. You're not doing that in the Churchill Gun Carrier, or an 88 to that matter. So in a way, the 88's better because it can sit and fight better. They've got Ricky Cupola if they want, or they can pen you for the right hand side of your hull. They're starting to go through now. That guy and that, that going in, are not going to struggle. I mean, you're talking the DPM, the fire rate, has got a lot worse. I mean, the Flat Panzer's the king of DPM at tier 6 tank destroyers at just over 2,400. The gun carrier is only 1,765. You can see that, the tanks that can do this job a lot better, but it does do it a lot easier with the penetration you've got. You've got more chance of doing the damage in this tank, but it's not as quickly.
Because it's got good pen.
I mean, all of them, I can run through them. The 88 does over 2,000 DPM. And the WZ, the Chinese, the newest one, I'm just going through the frontally mounted ones up 1,875. Even the SU-100 is 1,829. So even they've got 100 DPM over you. The Hellcat and the Jackson, just surprisingly, only just above 1,800. So you think of the Hellcat as being some king of tank destroyers at tier 6. It's not a DPM monster either, so you can see that DPM's not the be-all and end-all.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, if I were picking a tier 6 tank destroyer to play myself, it's one I've not mentioned yet. I do like the Flat Panzer, but for me it's a Nashorn. We've been through that before, the best tank destroyers. But to say this is some terrible tank that can't do anything and is useless, one of the worst on the game, not necessarily so.
It's not that bad. You blocked quite a lot on there.
It's just it struggles to get places. I mean, what are we into this game now? Is that 2.5 minutes in?
I did chop quite a lot.
Well, a minute and a half in, sorry.
We're a minute
and a half in it, and look where the team is. The team's already across the other line. If you get a game where it's a fast-paced game, fast tempo, you're not doing a lot.
That's Churchill territory, though, isn't it? It's the same.
And you find yourself taking risks like you see him doing here. I'm putting myself in a position, because if a light tank or a medium tank gets around me, I'm dead.
You're stuck. Look at what cover you got on that side, though. Team dependent. Are you team dependent?
In a way, and map dependent. I mean, you imagine if you're on Immelsdorf, if you've got to lumber this all the way around the corner, and then point it at something and shoot. It's not going to happen.
What degree of gun movement have you got?
It's not great. The gun arc, I can't tell you off the top of my head, I haven't got it wrote down, but it's not great. It's not vast. That's the other problem of fitting binos and a camo net. You're constantly disengaging them to move from left to right.
That would be quite important.
It's crap. There we go. It is a problem when it comes to this tank.
It's not great.
No, it's really not. I mean, aim time as well, 2.1. It's kind of in the middle of the road. The SU-100's up there at 2.9, which is quite high. But your Hellcat and your Jackson are aiming in 1.7, so they've got a little bit of advantage when it comes to the aiming in. But 2.1, you can live with that. The 88 is also 1.7. The gun depression, I've mentioned it before, I mean, you can see it a little bit more in this. You see it, you can tell it's got it. It just don't feel like 15. 15's a hell of a number, but it just don't feel that good. I think it's just where it's mounted, where the gun's mounted so low on the hull. And that's another problem when you're trying to use that on a ridge. You're sticking a hell of a lot of a flat box up above a ridgeline to get your gun over.
Is this the diesel version or petrol?
I'm not sure. Petrol all the way. The king for it. But like I say, if you're going down the 80 line, you want your Tortoise, you want your Badger and so off and so forth, your Death Star.
Of course,
Then this is a good tank to use at tier 6 to open up that gun at the tier 8 AT-15. You'll already have it.
Okay.
Whereas if you go straight down your AT line, it is a bit of a grind.
You've got to
unlock that gun.
Yeah.
You've got to unlock it in a tier 8 tank against tier 10.
Is that a little trick of...
tech tree knowledge?
Yeah, I was going to say. So there's quite a few tanks like that, aren't there? Where you can unlock them on other lines.
I mean, look at it. It's a really good, solid gun. It's just what it's fastened to. That's the problem with the Churchill Gun Carrier.
It is stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, if I'm going down its negatives, seriously narrow gun art that we've just mentioned, I can't tell you the degrees off the top of my head, it's just poor. Its mobility, it takes you a while to get into places to actually use that gun.
Yeah.
And the mobility is also a problem. If your team dies around you, you can't really defend yourself very well. It's very tricky if a light tank or medium gets around you. Camo ratings are poor as well. You're not going to be able to sit in a bush and be invisible for an whole game.
No camping bush?
No, well, you kind of have to in this tank. That's what I mean. And you've also got to read the battle to get the best out of the tank.
Has it got a high skill level?
In a way, I think battle knowledge is key to this tank. As in knowing where you're going to need to be to take advantage of situations. You've got because you've got to set off before it happens. You've got to think, like now, they're going to start capping us. We've got to get back. Should have noticed it quicker. You need to read it to know where to be to make the most of this tank.
I was going to say, I suppose.
At LCAT, you can react to things.
Yeah.
You've got to be proactive in this. You can't wait for something to happen and think, best go and sort something out there. You have got to be on the ball straight away.
Map knowledge is quite key then, isn't it? And like you say, battle knowledge and seeing how things play out. You need to preempt what might happen.
But this tank is not bad by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
if you can just get into position and use that gun, you can deal damage. I mean, we've not fired back to switch up around at any point, and you'll find that even when you get in a tier 8 match, 214 pen's good enough to go through most things. Yeah. Most things you'll pen with that gun, and in a way, it's very unassuming. You'll see people don't take any consideration. They hear this, well, it's shit, it's Churchill Gun Carrier. You never see any of them. People don't take notice of you spotted. It's not like you spotted in a Death Star and go, shoot, Death Star, everybody kill it. Yeah. Same with like a waffle, everybody goes for a waffle. With a Churchill Gun Carrier, you kind of leave you to it. They don't see it as some kind of threat.
They like disregard you, don't they?
Until you start putting them big holes in them, and then they'll take notice.
To be honest, I don't see that many.
You never do. You never do. It's got a really bad rep, and this is it. This is its drawback here. Look, you cannot react to a battle. I mean, you just. It's so frustrating, but that's what Churchill's. The Churchill's no different, the tier 6 one.
Come on, quickly, give us some roundage up then while your scores come up.
That, pretty much it, is if you need to plan your battle before you start it. You can't think, I'm going to go sit there and I'm going to let it happen, because if the battle don't come to where you are, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, so it's like map knowledge, team dependent, what else?
That's pretty much it. And mobility-wise, drawbacks, you've got to think all the time, where do I need to be, what have I got to do? Positives, just that gun. Basically, that gun's awesome.
Okay then, Killers 05, I think you rounded it up quite nicely. I think that's it then, people. Later.